Good morning. Is it live? Good morning. Hello, good morning to our breakfast series. Trying to stay timely, I keep this thing rolling. So my name is Bill Smith. I am president of the Seidman Alumni Board, and it is through the efforts of the Alumni Board and the Dean's Office that we are able to provide this breakfast series. This morning's breakfast has been made possible through the support of Ambassador Peter Secchia and his wife Joan Secchia, who are here with us this morning. Good morning, Secchias. A few quick details before we get into the program. Mark your calendars now for our next breakfast that will feature our own Seidman grad, Lieutenant Brian Calley. This will be on Thursday, December 1st, and it will be sponsored by Huntington Bank. And for Seidman alum that are in the audience today, we will be having a holiday social networking on that same day, Thursday, December 1st, 5 to 8 p.m. at Pepino's. Now I'd like to, without further ado, ask Charlie Secchia to come up and introduce our speaker. Charlie, we're glad that you came back to the United States. Charlie was gone for 15, 20 years in Europe, and he graduated from the John Cabot University in Rome. And Charlie is a dear friend of Franco Bianchi's. Charlie?
Thanks, Bill. I wanted to congratulate everybody for coming and say we had a great turnout. It's so neat to see all of your support and for getting up early to make this breakfast. And I'm sure that it's a free breakfast had nothing to do with it, right? I'd like to recognize President Tom Haas. There he's in the front row. Round of applause for everything great that he and Grand Valley are doing. And I'm going to embarrass Vani. Vani does a great job. Vani does all the work that you don't get to see, organizing, dealing with the details, and you can all imagine that's quite a bit. So, sorry, Vani, but just want to thank you for everything you do, and you make these breakfasts a success. Haworth, you all heard of the company. It's a global leader in the design and manufacture, primarily of office furniture. Net sales in 2010 were over $1.2 billion US. Franco Bianchi has been with Haworth since 1992. Franco has been the president and CEO of Haworth since 2005. And that includes his time in Italy, time in France, time in America, and he became the CEO once he'd been here for a few years. One neat thing that I'm not sure all of you realize, Haworth is a family-owned and privately held company. And the leader of that company is not from Holland, Michigan, but he hails from Bologna, Italy. And I think that's something that we can all stand proud of for the international aspect of our community and the fact that we can draw people like Franco, his wife Alessandra, and their two boys to a place like West Michigan. So, ladies and gentlemen, my dear friend, Franco Bianchi.
The clicker is here. Good. Good morning, and again, I want to thank the Secchia family for giving me this great privilege. I want to thank President Haas to host me here. I want to thank you for all your patience in trying to listen to this Italian accent. Charlie immediately gave away, I'm not from Holland, Michigan. I know you never picked that up from my accent. Everybody confused, think I'm Dutch. Anyway, so I want to talk about Haworth. The company was founded in 1948. And these are a few images from the history of the company. From the top left, the mother of G.W. Haworth, which is actually the founder of the company. G.W. was born in 1911 in that little, shack, small house in Nebraska. And he moved early in his years in West Michigan to Holland, where he was a shop teacher. That's a picture on the top right. And, early, late in the 40s, he had this dream of creating a office furniture company. Later, you're going to see some of the early product. And once the company started to do well, he decided to build the first factory. And the first factory is the picture on the down left, shows his son, Dick Haworth, 6 years old, and the gentleman with the hat, with the white hat, is actually GW. So this factory was built on 16th Street. Who knows Holland, like me, because I'm local, as you know. Is actually in front of the cemetery. But anyway, this is the first factory that was built on 16th Street. And the picture on the bottom right is actually Dick Haworth a few years ago, and his wife, Kathy, and some friends with a boat that actually Dick built, because Dick is a graduate in marketing, but there is actually, I think many of you know him, he's actually an engineer at heart, and he has developed a lot of the success of the company, come from, come from the development of the, to the engineering capability that actually Dick has. And so the company on the top, you see the first product that, modern products, so-called, was the early name of the company, that GW started to build, tire rack, shoe rack, anything, in wood, let's say. And on the bottom part, started to show the first semblance of office furniture. The company really started to make what we call today office furniture in the 50s, and really in the 70s, developed, thanks to Dick and another two gentlemen, developed that panel system and the so-called, we call it power base, a way to pre-wire panels, which really sparked the success of the company and actually the success of the industry overall. There is a little story, not very popular, particularly here. I mean, the entire industry copied that invention. And some people from some competitor are laughing because they know what I'm going to say. His idea was so unique that in '76 every other company, really literally every other company, took that idea and applied in their own furniture. And Haworth was pretty proud of his invention and asked everybody for a little compensation. And it took 20 years, but literally every company from the industry had to somewhat gently, I would say, deposit a few dollars. And fueling, and I'm trying to really be respectful of my competitor. So it created really a great royalty stream, let's call it, for the company to grow. But that invention is really the invention that sparked the Haworth of today. So 1976, the pre-wired panel. So with this tremendous invention, so just to give you a sense, so in 1976, Haworth was 50 times smaller than Steelcase and was 30 times smaller than Herman Miller. Later, you're going to see some pictures. So out of this great idea and of this focus on quality and customer satisfaction, the company started to expand and opened, and immediately, I would say, or very early, search for a bigger world than just North America. So we opened, you can see, we opened two factories, 100% Haworth owned in Shanghai in '97. We acquired a company in Italy, where I'm from, called Castelli in '92. We acquired a company in Germany in '88. And these are just some signs of our global expansion. We have opened a plant in India in 2005, and we are opening activity in Brazil in 2009. So the company is actually, we don't really show our numbers, and you're going to see only one number today. We are private and proud of it. But it's actually the amount of, we do a lot of business in North America, but we do a lot of business around the world. And this kind of a testimony, the focus on global that the company had from its early stage. So this is kind of a little bit of the evolution of the size of the company. And a lot of it has come from organic growth. And I would say in the 90s, particularly the expansion in Europe came largely from acquisition. But a lot of this growth has been organic. Now, our industry mirrors from 2000. You see the tremendous growth from the 80s to 2000. And actually, the growth in 2000 is really 50% is literally the acquisition of one company. But you say from 2000, our market really changed. And because I'm lucky, is when we actually showed up here. When the market, instead of going up like a rocket, like the previous 20 years, started to become very cyclical. And as you know, after September 11, certainly the office furniture market got a very significant hit and lost, 40–45% of its size. And in this recent financial crisis, the office furniture market again lost probably 30% of its size. And so this couple of trough, if you look to any of any company in our industry, they will look the same. What matters is how quickly you move up after the trough, and I think we did okay, and we are doing okay. You see, in the last bar is Haworth in 2011, and we are not announcing. The only number that we share is our size, is our total revenues, and we are going to announce it in February. But it's going to be a very good year. I can give you a little sense. It's going to be a very good year this year. It's, by the way, a very good year for the industry, not only for Haworth, but certainly we are going to do very well. So, as I said, the industry really changed after 2000. And from an industry where employment was constantly growing, the industry was pretty much constantly expanding, became a very volatile industry. And fundamentally, our industry works this way. The demand is driven by new construction, by employment, by GDP, and by corporate profitability. Pretty much, if you see the stock exchange growing, you know that our industry will likely go very well. If the stock exchange or corporate profitability is not doing very well, usually the first thing that our that our customers start to question is a purchase of office furniture. You can probably imagine. So for us, after 2000, or let's say when I showed up here in 2002, the question that we were engaged in is, when you have to redesign the company to be 40% smaller, you have to ask yourself, how I'm going to redesign a company for a volatile market, where if I hire 200 people today, I cannot hire them saying, I'm going to hire you until the next recession. Just for you to know, I'm going to lay you off in 3 years, in 5 years, in 7 years. You cannot run a company that way. So this has, I'd say, changed largely the landscape of our industry. And I believe we all, I have a lot of respect for my competitors. Most of the time it shows. But I think that has suggested to all of us, independently from what company we run and in what, if you are public or private, to truly change the way we run the business and reshape the company in a different way. Because the offer is clearly, our market is clearly over capacity. We can all sell a lot more than we can all manufacture a lot more than what we can sell today because of our efficiency, because of the great people that we all employ. And in the eye of the customer, I'm going to show you why I believe Haworth is different. But I do believe that in the eye of the customer, as an industry, we are doing a better job, but we constantly could do a better job in differentiating why our product is different, why that different matters. So the company, I was saying in 2002, we moved here. Yeah, quick story. In October 2000, actually, yes, in October, in August 2011. In August 2001. I'm back to. In August 2001. D.K. Haworth and then the CEO, Jerry Johannesson, invited myself and my wife to a dinner and pretty much offered us to move here. I was running the Italian operation, and we did a few good things, and probably we were a little lucky. A lot of the number, were going in the right direction. And he asked us to move here. Our country now, I can say, because we are we are Americans since June. We have dual citizen, by the way. But anyway, our country changed dramatically since, from August 2001 to September, October. And we moved here, and the market that we found here was completely different. Again, the company was, the industry was losing sales, by the day. So the question, D.K. brought us in a room, and I was, just showed up, and asked ourselves how we are going to redesign the company to be successful for the next 30 years, the way we have been successful the last 30 years. And you saw that growth. How we have to rethink the way we do business. And we built our future around these four general strategies, okay? Big drivers. One is to stay private, but continue to work on being professional. We're going to talk more about that, what it really means. Being private doesn't mean to be sloppy. You want to be, it is possible, and we believe it is actually better, to stay private because we don't need to be public, but at the same time, tailor the company, hire the people in order to have the best quality of members, the best talent available in what we believe is actually a better way to run the business. To think about a different way to do business, which you're going to hear me talking about, which we call organic workspace, which we believe differentiates us from any other company in the industry, and by the way, has led us to bounce back stronger and quicker, we believe, than any one of our competitors. Maintain and actually strengthen our global perspective. Where global doesn't mean to be the same, but where global means taking the opportunity of this very diverse and very dynamic world, and continue to leverage and focus perfect execution, which is really what has built the company so strong and so even financially profitable as it is. These two pictures are actually the picture of the old headquarters and of the new headquarters. These are actually the same building. They don't look the same building, but they literally are the same building. We just, in 2006, we made a pretty significant renovation to try to express in our building the same meaning of organic workspace that we were selling to our customers. So what really means private and professional? It means a strong shareholder commitment, and you see Dick Haworth, together with me, Dick Haworth and Matthew. Matthew is the new chairman, is his son, the third generation. It's my boss, actually, technically. And it's really a shareholder commitment that is unwavering and looks really to the long term. At the same time, challenge everybody, starting with me, to run a profitable, effective, and excellent business under all components. To be a value-based organization. Dick Haworth created in 73 what then he called the creed. Sounds very West Michigan, traditional West Michigan. Now it's called, since a while, called the values. But really the foundation is really not about religion. It's about we run a business that brings ethics and integrity in its primary foundation. We want to sell, we want to grow, we want to be profitable. There are certain elements that he wants to make sure that nobody around the world will compromise with. So we are a value-based organization, and let me say it's very easy to put words on a little piece of paper, but when you have to, in this big downturn, when you have to, unfortunately, take decision to send home, thousands of people, as unfortunately I would say we have done in some cases, that value, these words around value means a lot, because really talk about how you treat people with respect when times get tough. And so I do believe, and proudly I say, we are really a value-based organization. This comes a lot from the family that is very, very present, particularly on those elements. The focus on sustainability, and if you are interested to know more, go to our website and you can download the GRI report. We are a very, I share with you, we don't share any number, any detail around the company. You will see that our sustainability report is the most transparent, thick, and rich of information, arguably than many companies, let's say this. And because we truly believe it, and we believe that in what we are doing. And financial strength. I started with a very good, a lot of good people left me a very, very good company to run. And certainly I try to treasure the good result that I have and hopefully making them a little better. So the company is also very financially capable. So that organic workspace, the idea in an industry that fundamentally talks about object and say, Mr. Customer, look how beautiful is this. Look how interesting is my 5-star base. Look how interesting is my armchair. Look, if you buy my panel, it's better than his panel. We try to say, okay, our goal is to say, with understanding the culture that we serve around the world, and with our knowledge on how people interact to solve problems, we have a unique design point of view that create spaces that have a unique, create product that integrate together and with spaces to develop solutions that are uniquely tailored to your business and achieve ultimate sustainability. You're going to later see what I really mean. But the idea is to treat interiors as a tool to solve a problem. Not only to, and oh, by the way, that those interiors happen also to be beautiful and happens also to be competitive. But interiors, spaces, are a tool to solve a problem. And we believe that we have the knowledge, the example, and the tool to help any customer to solve those problems if, customer let us do so. And so this is a little, you want to click? Yeah, perfect. This is a little, maybe a little long, but idea of what we mean by that. So remember, the company was a company that was making only office furniture, and at the beginning of 2000, we acquired a company that was making a raised access floor, and we developed new raised access floor, and we acquired a company and developed product to make modular power, modular data, and modular walls. So our idea is to say, Mr. Customer, if you help me, if I can be a partner for you, you create for me, call it a six-sided box, an empty box, an empty space that I can fulfill. I can work with your people to understand how they work, and I can fill with a modular raised access floor, modular power, modular data, modular wall, and modular furniture. So now, when your business changes, the space can change for you. Not that, and I'm sure, who is working in the business or who runs a business in this room or any type of business knows that your spaces trap you into the envelope of yesterday. And in order to change that envelope, you have to tear down walls and rebuild. You have to move location. You have to, destroy, and oh, by the way, there is also a very important sustainability factor in it. So the idea is to say, what if I create an envelope that is totally flexible and can follow you wherever your business needs to go, can contract and can expand, can readjust, can be tailored to truly your need. And now this positions us, instead of one of the 1,000 companies that can sell you, the next panel, which you would say all of us sell good panel, to a company that can truly integrate and interact at the business level. I like to think that we can be great business partner and, oh, by the way, deliver beautiful spaces. Like the one, this is a picture of the atrium of our new, relatively new now, 2006, headquarters, but let's say. So, and this is a space that is completely flexible. So this is the old building. So the old building, you saw the picture before. We stripped down the front. We left intact the structure of the floor and the column of the old building. And we put on top of the old floor, we put our raised access floor, modular power, modular walls, and modular furniture. So we can adapt and change constantly our space accordingly to the need of the business, to the contraction of the department, or to the expansion of the department, to the cultural requirement, and to the technology requirement of that business challenges with every day. And this is just an example where we create a little pit, I don't know how to call it in a better way, where the raised access floor is actually lowered and creates like a room like this. And this is, again, all done with our product, where, later on, maybe in 2 years, we can just elevate the raised access floor, and that floor will become a normal floor without spending literally any money, just adapting the pedestal of the floor. These are some pictures that show, again, the raised access floor can be glass. You see here a few pictures if you're proud. You can create, very unique spaces to, again, tailor your business to what your needs are. This also, I also added a few pictures of our customers, of our spaces around the world. I mentioned how broadly international we are. This is our new showroom in Paris, actually. This is our showroom in Chicago. A few more pictures. This is a great space that we did in Sydney, where literally this company, Macquarie Bank, it's one of the major, actually probably one of the first 20 banks in the world, really helped us, or let's say, bought into the idea of us playing a role not only as the supplier of furniture, but before as a partner, an integrator for their business. And we created, we were at the table with the architect, with the designer, and we together provided, basically created the interior for them. And so you see, again, efficiency, sustainability, and beauty are, and cost, by the way, are able to be brought together to the table. And this is just a couple of pictures of how the space looks. The idea is also to show you the variety of look and feel the space can have, but they all are built with the same, call it intelligence behind, with the same modularity behind. Often the idea of modularity suggests dull and not interesting space. And what I'm trying to suggest here, that modularity is actually, if it is designed with the right point of view in, modularity can be very efficient and beautiful at the same time. So here you see a few pictures of new product. And also, innovation. This is actually interesting innovation that we actually did the partnering with a West Michigan supplier. And the idea is to create a chair with a back that has let's say, the feel of and the comfort of an upholstered back. This is actually a plastic back. And so this is actually a four stamp, with 4 different plastic compound material that gives a very soft back, like and a comfort, like again an upholstered back in a very thin plastic chair. These are so in this idea of creating a total interior and not only selling objects, not only selling workstation, we also launched last June a new collection called a new portion of product, a new company called Haworth Collection, where we try to propose a product not only for the, I would call it classical work environment, but because the work environment is changing, number one, and number two, because we want to promote ourselves as partner for the entire company in any area of the company. We launch products that are maybe more executive in look and feel and more collaborative in look and feel. And these are some example of those. Some are like the one designed by Haworth, and some are actually marketed in collaboration with a great design house. These happen to be Italian, Poltrona Frau or Cassina, just to use some example. So, but all this great story doesn't really mean anything if you cannot execute. And so that's why the roots and the heritage of great execution or great focus on quality, great focus on the customer are the foundation of, were the foundation of Haworth yesterday, were the one that let us grow as fast as we did, but also are the foundation that we keep working on every day. And the perfect execution is really built around member empowerment and lean thinking. I often, suggest, if you go to a manufacturing company, an excellent manufacturing company, again, at Haworth, and I'm sure at many others, particularly in West Michigan, I think there are excellent manufacturing companies, you'd see that the way that we all manufacture a product is very, very different than what was happening 20 years ago. We all don't have the luxury of overhead that we had 20 years ago, and we all have solved the conundrum of lower cost, let's say of need of having lower labor cost, of the need of the fact that we have higher cost of labor than certainly Asia, let's say, or Mexico, and at the same time to deliver great quality. We have all, that reconciliation, we all found a way to balance that reconciliation by delivering in different way, approaching the delivery in different way through that what is called today lean thinking, which really is built around a very simple idea that nobody better than the operator knows how to do his business. Nobody better than the worker can control his or her own quality. And this has sparked dramatic change, dramatic transformation, both in the education, in the skills that operator, that worker needs to have in order to do his job or her job, but also in the way that the factory is managed, the way that the factory is supported, the way that manufacturing is actually designed. And I think we do a pretty good job at it, and we would not be able to do what we do without that member empowerment and that lean journey. And by the way, I don't mean that we are in any special place. We have a long way to go, and we will have a long way to go, but I'm very proud of what we have accomplished. which makes, with those two elements make us, I would say, easier to do business with. I don't want to say easy, but certainly easier to do business with, because today the flexibility that is needed in the market is, every day more significant and very agile. I remember my comment, my original comment on, in an industry that is very volatile, we cannot afford to hire 1,000 people today and lay off 1,000 people tomorrow. So how we are going to be able to manage this, incredible volatility in a way, in a respectful, long-term oriented and profitable and sustainably profitable environment. That word agility, it's a nice little word, but there's a lot of complexity behind it. And we continue to build on our global perspective, where we have 4 design centers. I often use the word global as a synonymous of the same. And actually, I believe, particularly I would say in our industry, which I believe, sometimes, certainly in our industry, maybe in others, there is this idea that one brain in one place, usually at the headquarters, can dictate every other part of the world on what to do, and that's the most efficient and simple way. Or if would be the most efficient, simple way if every customer would be the same. But certainly in our industry, it doesn't work that way. At the same time, we cannot afford every person inventing everything in a totally disparate and not organized way. So that word global, interpreted the right way, is actually one of the most complex elements to be delivered in the business today, and certainly a very key focus of, I believe, why Haworth is different in the marketplace. What we try to do, for example, I pick some of those elements, take design. Reality is that the people work in very different way, and even in small, at times in big ways, product need to be different. At times, in small ways, product need to be different. And if products are not different, the product do not sell. I make you an example. They are the same characteristic. Chairs is probably the most global being the same product that you can imagine in our industry. But the characteristic that make for example, an arm function. We have a 4D arms, in one of our products. That 4D means move in 4 different directions. So in one geography, the fact that the arm is a little loose, so when the customer, has his arm on the cap of the arm is a little loose, is actually a good thing. In some geography, because that little loose means that it's not possible to be sold. Okay? So there are sometimes little details, sometimes very big details. We still work with a lot of panel system. Okay, outside of the US, and maybe of Canada, there are no panel systems. Nobody else would work with a little, dwarf wall separating people. Would think that you would be crazy. Okay, so you cannot literally sell the same thing everywhere. So how you accomplish at the same time that variety, but at the same time you run a profitable business. And I think we all are searching the right formula. And I think we do, I believe, a pretty good job, where we try to get the foundation of a method and of common ground. At the same time, we allow and tailor the differences by region or by geography. And these are just some examples. The idea is to show you how large is the world of Haworth and the fact that we can serve customers virtually everywhere. Just to give you a little sense, World Bank is one of our great customers. So a lot of my, friend and colleague, we all are learning, the capital of the world, and because we serve them, literally everywhere they open. All these new countries with the stun at the end. We have open World Bank activities in every one of the call it new Asian republic. The new after the USSR, disappeared in the last 10 years. A lot of new countries have opened up, and World Bank is opening banks, large installation in every place. And again, we are following them everywhere they go. So the capability, back to flexibility, the capability to be able to deploy supply chain not only in the let's say, the usual suspect countries. But virtually everywhere a customer decides to open a shop is an interesting opportunity. Because the world is moving towards new geography. Not even, probably the word new is already old. I mean, these are not even new geography. As you know, there is a giant repositioning from, call it maybe in a very generic way, from west to east, and a lot of new marketing are opening up. And these are new markets where we move largely because our customers are asking us to be there with them. And you know, again, part of being global is to be first mover. And I think we can say that Haworth is certainly outside of the US has been first mover since the early 90s. We opened in China with 100% ownership when no other companies, in the plant when no other companies in our office furniture world was even thinking to be there. And we did the same in India, and we are going to do the same in other places. So to end, maybe allow you to share some comments, some ideas, and certainly I'm happy to answer to any question. You know, what we try to do, you know, as you can see, we partner with customer designers, architects, in thinking that there is a better way to build interiors, to design it, to build and to maintain this interior over time, delivering superior value to all of them. And we empower our members, we focus on our lean leadership, and with those two elements and the inspiration of that you know, the globe is diverse and the very different perspective that we gather from that diversity, we tailor a customer experience which we'll believe is superior in every geography that the customer decides to operate in. So that's what we call the Haworth way. And this is a nice picture at night of our headquarters. Anyway, thank you for the opportunity. Thank you. So I'm told, do you have any question, any comment, anything that comes to your mind?
Yeah, please, questions. I have a comment. It was wonderful to see the impact of your business plan here, but I wanted to take this more personal. Getting to know you over these past few years and let everyone know here in this audience as well, Franco. As you know, Bill Seidman and others looked to establish Grand Valley because we wanted to keep talent here in West Michigan. And through these past 2 years in particular, I've gotten to know Franco because he has now reached out as a representative of the business community and understanding the relationship that the business community has with the educational entities here as well. And it's all under the context of called Talent 2025. And I just wanted to say thank you for your leadership and others as well. But you in particular have reached out to universities like Grand Valley to help us, again, reestablish that notion that Bill Seidman had that we need to keep our talent here. And I want to say thank you for that leadership, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Just a 30 seconds, if I can say anything in 30 seconds, I don't know, but let's say 30 seconds on education. We have two boys, 13 and 11, which we, transform from two potentially Italian into two hybrids, Italian-American. Sometimes I wake up in the night, I scream, thinking about what I have done. I'm very, very proudly, obviously, American. But, and I constantly ask myself, are we preparing our children for a future that will be very different than the one that we had the privilege to have? My dad worked very hard to allow me to have an education, and I think prepared me for a very good life, and I feel the same responsibility. And I do believe that the challenge that our children, don't start crying, okay? Don't start crying. The challenge that our children have in front of them are a lot more serious than the one that we had, and I'm not sure if we are doing as good of a job. So I found a little opportunity under this umbrella of Talent 2025 that I'm very, very honored to participate in, to connect with in this case, with the post-secondary education, and truly establish a very strong tie between and very practical, because who knows me knows that I'm very, very down to earth and very practical. In making sure, number one, that we as employers share with the post-secondary education the specific needs that we have for our business. At the same time that we work for them to collaborate better among themselves and to really work as a system in this West Michigan environment, which, by the way, which has a culture to truly work as a system, with the goal to strengthen the mindset on a region that has been very fortunate in the past, but on strengthen the mindset that like Haworth, we are not going to hire anybody. We are not hiring anybody in the office, that beautiful office, that is not a bachelor. And I'm not sure if we are telling our children clearly enough and strong enough that if they don't finish high school, number one, and number two, if they don't get a 4-year degree, minimum a 2-year degree, the world that they're going to have to face and deal with is going to be very complicated and not very good to them. And so, I'm glad that, and through that little effort, I certainly got to know President Haas and another great list of leaders of our education institution, where we have the same ideas. But I don't think collectively we are sending a message enough, loud and clear enough, and seriously enough to our children, to our institution. Sorry for the little, but I'm here, so I can say whatever I want. Right? Please.
Haworth's obviously a big corporation. My question is what is on your top couple on your checklist to stay agile going forward?
Yeah, I think I would say probably on the very top is talent. That's going to sound a little, but the reality is we don't need a lot more people. We need people more aligned to those challenges. And I think once you have this talent that is, I would call it culturally agile, you're going to end up having a company that is agile in quantities, in profitability, in geography. But what I think I'm challenged the most with doesn't mean that we don't have it, but it means that what I'm treasuring and looking forward the most is to have that culturally agile talent. And I think as a region, we have to ask ourselves what we can do to build more of those. Because I believe the world of today is as diverse and as segmented as probably has ever been. And without that cultural agility, you're going to risk to lose a portion of your customer or a portion of your risk or a portion of your opportunities. And so call it cultural agility. I don't know if it was clear. Oh, please. It's actually interesting how certainly in the last couple of years, so you saw the two bars, both last year bar and this year bar, growing quite significantly, and a lot of that growth is actually in North America. I think the more when we do a good job and we truly convince the customer that we can be that partner to redesign their space, if you think about now you should spend more money in office furniture in general, just for the record. But will be a lot more difficult to convince you if you don't have, in a time of risk and volatility, it will be a lot more difficult to convince you to buy a new conference room than if I convince you that if you partner with me, we can redesign your space and maybe you can have 70%. You can have only 70% of your space because you can free up 30%. And you can have your people still very happy, and you can create a space that can adapt with your business. So the more we win, and the more we play and we do a good job in this idea of being a business partner that happen to sell furniture, and not just that we produce the best 5-star base in the country. The more we do that job, the more the more time like these are great time for us. Because today customer can move, I don't know for how long, but can move from one great building to another great building, probably saving now maybe 15% of the rent. 2 years ago, 50% of the rent. And if now you can convince them that they don't only move in that way, but they can also take 70% of the space that they had before, and they can create a space where maybe 30% of the people that is built to allow 30% more people to work in 70% of space, Now you see that we become like a business investment. And it's almost, unfortunately, I would love to tell you that there's a clear ROI. I can come with an Excel spreadsheet. I have an Excel spreadsheet, but it's probably not all the numbers out there. But I'd say largely, it's a logic that we can sustain and promote. And in truth, I think our industry, everybody tries, after we started, but everybody tries to say that they can do the same too. But I would say, so with that idea, now you see that the growth can be in North America, can be in Asia, can be in Europe. Now, again, the biggest growth in terms of percent is clearly in Asia, but North America is playing a very significant role. BIFMA, this is a public number. BIFMA, which is the Association of Furniture Manufacturers, suggests that next year the market should grow from 7 to 9%, which I think is optimistic for the record, but I think it is so it will be as being good. This year, BIFMA suggests 15%. So in the US, so US is in the last 2 years, after falling 35%, went up 9, is going up probably 15 this year. And next year will probably go up, I don't know, anywhere from 5 to 9. Please.
Yeah, we've gone from working in offices, individual offices, to cubicles, to now these beautiful spaces that you're designing and building now. Have you looked into the crystal ball and see what's the next thing that's going to happen? Where are we going to be working in say 20 years from now? What kind of workspaces? What they'll look like in the future?
Yeah, I think a lot of people at Haworth and outside of Haworth actually are researching, this element, and there is a spectrum, I think, and there is a pendulum too. We went from that. In order to have an office, you need to have an enclosed space, floor to ceiling, the private, 70s, maybe actually early, probably 50s, to the invention of the cubicle, and so in order to have an office, you had to have 4 small low I call it dwarf walls, but panels to feel that you were private when you actually are not, because everybody is going to hear you, but you feel that you're private. So you can play Tetris when your boss doesn't actually see you. Not that anybody at here would ever do that. So to now have this idea that everybody's going to work at Madcap Cafe. I was going to say another name, but in a cafe, in a lobby, and the reality is that, and I'm back to what we can do. The reality is that collaboration. There is no doubt that the word in our industry, the word, the kind of the cool word today is collaboration. So everybody's trying to create spaces to collaborate, like if you needed a special, I don't know, hut to collaborate in. It's okay, now I'm going to collaborate, so I have to go to this place. I think the spaces more and more need to be spaces that are tailored to multiple work settings, where people have, based on what you do, if you think about, every one of you, what type of job you do, there are moments of the day that you need focus, heads down, private work. At times you need a private meeting that needs to be very confidential and very secure. And at times you need to collaborate in an open setting. And just at times you just want to relax. And I think so. The customer spaces that we design are moving from, I call it monodimensional, that they were certainly in the 70s, in the 80s and 90s, to much more diverse. Where up to the point, one extreme, when I show you Macquarie Bank, and this is just one, we have hundreds of customers that do things similar, where nobody has an address. So technology today, I'm saying things that you all know. Technology today can allow you to not, you can have no phone, correct? And not a physical, there is not anymore a physical constraint for you to always work in one place. So you can have from no address at all. We have customers that have 40% of their workforce, so-called nomad, I call it remote, to customers that have maybe the entire workforce that goes physically in the same building, but never sit in the same spot by design, because the technology allows them to work anytime. And in some time they work, in a lounge-like environment. Sometimes they work in a conference room-like environment. Sometimes they work in a workstation-like environment, according to the work setting and the typology of interaction that they have. I think the world, I would say, whoever, hopefully not Haworth will not say that, but whoever is telling you that the world is only one of those elements, which I know in our industry there are many, is trying to sell you a product, really. He's not trying to sell you a new way of working. The new way of working is a combination of all these settings, as everybody, I believe, knows. Please.
You said that Haworth was a values-based company. And I'm wondering what your core values were and how you incorporate and promote them in your daily activities at the company.
It's a great question. I'm trying to, let's say, quickly I can get. But let's say, first of all, there are 6 words that I'm trying to quickly get to. We have, the company was built around two fundamental beliefs. One is that you have to be focused on your customers and agile and tailoring your business to your customer. And the second one is that to do so, you have to be focused to your members. Because if you are focused to your customer and forget your members, you will never be focused to your customer, by definition, okay? I'm trying to, here we are. So customer is number one, because without customer, there is no company. The keyword said, I love to put member number one, but if I don't tell my member to treasure the customer satisfaction, there will be no company. Okay? So customer and members are really the 2 foundational elements, and we can play on who is first, but I'm not sure that really matters. The integrity, is the third word, and it really means, we have great opportunity to grow and be profitable, but we want to make sure that we want to sleep. And integrity doesn't only mean, do things legally, which I would argue it's kind of normal. Okay, we do, but this also means the delivering on what we promise, which also sometimes means under-promise and over-deliver. Means not be overly promoting, yourself, and I believe, particularly the family, who knows the family very well, knows that the family does a lot more things, a lot more positively, a lot more important for the community, but very few people know about it, because they do believe that what matters is what they think, not what the world knows of what they do. Continuous learning is really the foundation of that member empowerment, which is both a duty that we ask to our members and a outcome. We need people not only that enjoy come to work, but we also need people that challenge themselves to learn every day a little more. And we offer a lot of opportunities to do that, from the most simple of internship, tuition reimbursement, to structured training. But we also require not only a passive approach. Okay, I'm going to learn what you're going to tell me, but an active approach. Okay, what have you done lately? Like in our performance and development plan, that is the kind of I call the report card for every member. What have you done lately, Franco, to promote your own learning on your own? Not only to use what Haworth is proposing you. What have you done, actively? Results, I usually say, back to be private but professional, we are all as good as our results. I can talk forever, but, the Haworth family and our independent board, by the way, we have a board of directors largely made of independent, non-family director. Ask us to deliver sustainable, positive results, which are best in class, and challenge us to do so year in and year out. And when things do not happen, certainly there are consequences. So a result matter. We're not just all good and happy and joyful because we have few dollars in the bank. A result need to happen, and there is and foundational. These results are market share, customer satisfaction, and sustainable profitability. Everything else is important, but it's a little less important. It's very, very simple suggestion. and our world. You know, the idea that we employ now 6,000 people around the world, and we try to help the community we work in our small way to do a little better every year. And certainly we have a very important reach in West Michigan because we have the major size of our business and the major the number of employees here, but we try to do the same everywhere we operate. And so we actually, this focus on education, which is a focus of the company, you know, before my little comment, you know, if you ask, you know, the Haworth, the company, you know, GW started, and Dick has been extremely generous in education at all level, you know, K-12, and post-secondary, you know, not only in West Michigan but around the world, with that idea and that continuous learning, you know, that is a great foundation of our values, which is just to probably close, I'm assuming. One thing, if you don't know the Haworth, you would say, there's one sentence that to me summarizes a lot of who he is, and it is, Franco, there is nothing that we do that we cannot do better, okay? And I think it's a great, it's a very simple idea. It's a great foundation to run a business, to be a parent, to be a husband, to be a part of the community. And he keeps reminding us, me, and at times when your head gets a little too big, this little phrase of, there's nothing that we can do that we cannot do better, helps you to, be back on track. Excellent. Thank you.
So Franco, we have for you a basket, if you will, of gifts here. Our group has done a good job of pulling together paraphernalia from Grand Valley, Seidman College of Business, and we also have something here for Alasara.
Oh, good.
Yes, indeed.
Good.
But we really want to thank you for sharing with us this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you.
The Seidman College of Business provides a rigorous learning environment with a student focus, a regional commitment, and a global perspective. And this kind of breakfast is a manifestation, quite frankly, of all those major components of our mission. And so we really appreciate it, and I want to thank Franco again for the wonderful message. And I want to thank Peter and Joan for making this possible, yes? And most importantly, I want to thank all of you on behalf of President Haas, Provost Davis, all of the faculty, staff, and students at Grand Valley and the Seidman College of Business, our alumni group. We really appreciate your time, your attention, and your support, not just this morning, but for 50-plus years now. We really appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing you next December 1st for our next breakfast, when Lieutenant Governor Calley is going to present the Huntington Breakfast Lecture. So please, have a good day.